Assalamualaikum Dr. Shawal. My name is Nur Nabila binti Amirul Hasni, and my group will discuss regarding the food security that happened in Africa. So I will further explain about the introduction of food security first. According to the United Nations Committee to Work on Food Security definition is people had access on sufficient nutritious and safe food to be received that can always fulfill their food requirements for a healthy lifestyle. Food security has several key elements that should be focused on to achieve the main goals of food security, which is food accessibility, food utilization, availability, and stability. These four key elements are typically viewed as a concept of food security. Firstly, the key elements of food security are food accessibility. Food accessibility means individuals and households can receive enough food to consume a balanced diet or have sufficient resources such as land to generate their own food. Secondly, food stability is also one of the key elements of food security. Food stability here means food security have a spatial component which refers to the time frame in which food and nutrition security are examined. Therefore, food stability also can be defined as stability will be achieved when household supplies is consistent throughout the year and over the time. Thirdly, another key element of food security is food availability. Food availability here means food must always be available for individuals to consume enough healthy and high quality food. Lastly, food utilization is also the key elements of food security. Food utilization defines people must be able to obtain enough food to meet their nutritional requirements. In addition, food utilization also refers not just how much individuals receive the foods, but also what and how they eat. It is also when the food is correctly prepared or cooked that the nutritional output of the calories intake is desirable and ideal.
Assalamualaikum to Dr. Shawal. My name is Nashahira binti Muhammad Yazid. So now I will present about the issues of food security in Africa. Okay, for the first issue is African people will struggle in order to get for healthy food, especially during this pandemic of COVID-19. It is about 85% of the food sources in Africa will come from the outside from the country. During the pandemic of COVID-19 occurred, most of the border of country were closed for any import and export activities, but it depends on the country itself. Second issues of the food security in Africa is rapid populations of growth in the country. As we know, most of the countries facing with having the highest number of the people in the country. The rapid growth population in the country also is caused by the high rate of fertility, where this country, which is Africa, is one of the countries that have the higher of fertility rate than others country. Having unstable of political and social in the country. Okay, the food security in Africa also can be triggered due to the lack of political and social stability. By facing with the lack of politics in the country, so the Africa will easily in order to involve in a conflict of war or terrorism. If this kind of the conditions keep continue in the country, so it may make the country become more worsen day by day. On the other hand, it also may make the African people unable to live in comfortable of life like others country. It's climate change threat. Okay, as we know, Africa is commonly identified as a region that highly vulnerable to climate change. This occurs is based on the social, economic, and also the political constraints to determine the capacity of human system in order to cope with external stresses such as climate change. The climate change has affected the water sources in Africa also. It occurred due to the increasing in the rainfall and weather pattern in the country itself.
Option intervention is an interference from any party or efforts to help achieve necessary behavior change. Firstly, Food Agriculture Organization (FAO) that focuses on international initiative to fight hunger through expanding agriculture, so that everyone can get quality and quantity of food to stay healthy without any discrimination. The organization also aimed to eliminate hunger, food security, and the malnutrition in the country. Through agriculture, rural poverty can lessen and people can be more productive producing food. Next is the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, CAADP, that was developed in 2013. CAADP is going through the management of the sustainable land and the water variable for the control system, like the improvement of accessibility of the irrigation. Irrigation is the system of applying regulated amounts of water to land in order to aid agriculture development. As we know, the weather in Africa mostly warm and dry, and it needs a good flow of water for agriculture. CAADP improved the market access by developing the infrastructure of rural and intervention of trade to attract foreign investment to increase the economy in Africa. CAADP also improving technology in Africa so they can have more food production by using modern and advanced technology. Last but not least, International Fund for Agriculture Development, or known as IFAD, which provides 1 billion loans to the government to support the agenda and projects in rural areas for people to grow more food, improve nutrition, learn new skills, manage natural resources, and start business. IFAD is excellent in improving the food production. Through food production, it can get rid of rural poverty. Thank you.
I will present about the pathway or summarize of diagram on the food security. Food security acts as a connected part from the output to the consumption through the distributions to processing. Okay, the diagram of food security shows that about the connected part, which is related to the issue and effect as well as the solution. Okay, from the diagram also, it shows that the food security normally will be discussed about the food availability, food accessibility, and also food advocacy. Then, based on the diagram also, the Food and Agriculture Organization, known as Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, has been stated that the people will only be food secure when there is an insufficient food available in the country. Okay. On the other hand, due to the height of the fertility rate in Africa, it also can be affecting the consumption of food in their daily life. This shows that why Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has been come up with the most important input of resources for the food production. It also is to encourage to having more nutrition food as well as especially for the children in the country itself.
I will further explain regarding the upstream intervention. One of the upstream intervention to combat food security in Africa is Africa Day for Food and Nutrition Security. These program activities help to enhance the country's commitment to the food and nutrition program as well as to reinforce political promises to end the hunger.
Next, I will explain on the downstream of food security in Africa. The first one is Food Policy Coalition. Food insecurity is a major concern for the global in 2012, with over 1 billion people suffering from famine, malnutrition, and also undernutrition. The number of people suffering from hunger is increasing. Therefore, a comprehensive food policy approach that supports both the demand and also the supply for a healthy foods are required. So, the Food System Transformative Integrated Policy Initiative has been introduced in partnership with coalition partners in order to assist the African government in addressing and strengthening their food system. Next, community development and grant schemes. Pandemic of COVID-19 make it worsen for the African household in securing their foods. Therefore, African Development Bank has recently approved $1.4 million grant to reduce the malnutrition among the vulnerable households in Africa. On the other hand, in mitigating the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, the Household Food Security Project has created 150 permanent skill or semi-skilled position and also 40 part-time position job for the people in agricultural sector to increase the food supply as well as increase the GDP and also the employment. Next, I will explain on the downstream of food security in Africa. The first one is food policy coalition. Food insecurity is a major concern for the global in 2012 with over 1 billion people suffering from famine, malnutrition and also undernutrition. The number of people suffering from hunger is increasing. Therefore, a comprehensive food policy approach that supports both the demand and also the supply for a healthy foods are required. So, the Food System Transformative Integrated Policy Initiative has been introduced in partnership with coalition partners in order to assist the African government in addressing and strengthening their food system. Next, community development and grant schemes. Pandemic of COVID-19 make it worsen for the African household in securing their foods. Therefore, African Development Bank has recently approved $1.4 million grant to reduce the malnutrition among the vulnerable households in Africa. On the other hand, in mitigating the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, the Household Food Security Project has created 150 permanent skill or semi-skilled position and also 40 part-time position job for the people in agricultural sector to increase the food supply as well as increase the GDP and also the employment. Other than that, intervention by community also contribute to food security in Africa. Community in Zimbabwe, South Africa has used community garden to generate their income as well as food commodities. Community garden means a place where the whole community in the neighborhood can grow their crops, flowers and also herbs. The result of the gardening contribute to food security to the impacted and vulnerable household. That's all from me. Thank you.
In conclusion, the issue of hunger still spreading. It shows that the global food crisis is still threatening toward the society, even though there are several interventions as well as rules and regulations implemented by the government to improve the food security issue. However, there are still issues regarding food insecurities that need to be more transparent as well as invisible so that both of the government and society are well aware of the issue. However, food crisis can be taken as a wake-up call to turn the issue into an opportunity by developing countries in global agriculture, production and trade. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum to Dr. Shawal. My name is Nur Shahira binti Muhammad Yazid. So now I will present about the introduction to indoor pollution tobacco smoke. The indoor pollution has a much longer history than usually thought. The indoor pollution is the pollution that comes from the chemical and indoor air contaminated. Then, the indoor air pollution also include the building, housing, and transportation. The indoor pollution also will bring the negative impact to the human health, animals, environment, and to the surrounding area. The smoke certainly was among the first major sources of the indoor pollution. Tobacco smoke is one of the most significant indoor sources of air pollution. The term of tobacco smoking is a process where the tobacco is burned and vapors either tasted or inhaled. Okay, moreover, the tobacco smoke is very complex of mixture of gaseous spaces and particles of different size. It is means that there are so many poison contained in the tobacco which will harm the body.
And Assalamualaikum Dr. Shawal. My name is Nur Nabila binti Amirul Hasni and I will presenting the issue of tobacco smoke. Firstly, one of the issues that related with tobacco smoke is secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke, also known as passive smokers, means when people are near the sources of tobacco smoke, then that people inhale the smokers' tobacco smoke. Secondhand smoke harms the body in a variety of ways. According to the Surgeon General report, it has been 2.5 million people who were non-smokers killed because they inhaled the tobacco smoke. In addition, secondhand smoke exposure has been linked to an increased number of asthma, respiratory infections, sore throats, and infant death among children. Moreover, secondhand smoke, especially pregnant women, also getting affected. This is because of secondhand smoke while pregnant increases the risk of complications during the childbirth. Another issue of tobacco smoke is it can harm the environment. This is because of tobacco smoke are releasing the unhealthy smoke towards the air. Therefore, it can reduce the quality of indoor air quality. In other words, tobacco smoke can cause air pollutions.
Firstly, the option intervention for the air and indoor pollution is the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, or known as WHO FCTC, that were recognized in 2003. The role of the FCTC covers all aspects of tobacco, which is the measure reduction of tobacco demand, measure reduction of tobacco supply, and environmental protection. This is mainly to safeguard current and future generations from the harmful health, social, environmental, and economic effects of tobacco use and exposure to tobacco smoke. For example, the effort made by FCTC is knowledge and awareness for public understanding of tobacco control. Also, tax rate to lessen the demand for tobacco. Next is smoke-free policies. This policy implements to prohibit the society to smoke at the public area, workplace, open area like restaurants, and so on. The smoke of the tobacco will expose to the environment, which carries the second-hand smoker health, which is asthma, lung cancer, and so on. Malacca is the first state that implement the smoke-free policy initiative. The initiative followed by Johor, Penang, Kelantan, Terengganu, Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya, Sarawak, and Selangor. If people tend to disobey this policy, for owners and occupiers of relevant places who fail to post a no smoking notice might face an 3,000 punishment and get a sentence of up to 6 months of jail.
Next, I will present about the pathway or summarize of the diagram on the indoor pollution tobacco smoke. Okay, based on the diagram, it can be seen that the tobacco smoke can be one of the contributions to the indoor pollution due to the having of negative effect. Normally, people already have the knowledge on the air, on the outdoor air quality and how it can affect the status of health against humans. The indoor air pollution was facing several of issues which bring negative impact either to human or animal and others. There are several tools and solutions were implemented at the national level. The tools and solution is very important things in order to reduce the rate of the indoor air pollution from become more serious in the future.
Next, I will present about the downstream interventions. Firstly, the downstream intervention towards this indoor pollution of tobacco smoke is parents' education. Parents' education here means how they're concerned about the consequences of tobacco smoke towards their children. They first need to have an education regarding this to control and monitor their children's health and risks that they will face later. Parent education also means their knowledge and awareness on how to avoid their family to stay away from a situation that having tobacco smoke. Another downstream intervention is smoke-free space. Smoke-free space here means a safe place for non-smokers from being a second-hand smoke. For examples of smoke-free space such as shopping malls, workplace, schools, hospitals, public transportation, restaurant, playground, and other places that are exposed to many people. In addition, this smoke-free space also encourage the smokers the initiative to slowly quit from smoking.
Next, I will explain on the upstream of indoor pollution caused by tobacco smokes. One of it is by increasing the tobacco taxes. It is one of the effective way in controlling and minimizing the consumption of tobacco products. The example of tobacco products are cigarettes, pipes, PDs, electronic cigarettes, vapes, and others. The rise on taxes will generally increase the prices of these products. Thus, it will discourage the smokers, especially the poor, in buying those products and eventually will reduce the consumption of tobacco. In addition, it will increase the government's revenue. Next, as we know, tobacco product brings so many harm to our health as well as the environment. However, not everyone is aware or underestimate the consequences of smoking. Therefore, World Health Organization (WHO) has stated that health warnings that are both written and graphic are required in the packaging of tobacco products. Pictorial health warnings are more effective than the written one. For example, in a survey conducted in Canada from 2001 until 2003, 44% of smokers said that pictorial health warning had motivated them to quit smoking. Thank you.
In conclusion, the issue of hunger still spreading. It shows that the global food crisis is still threatening toward the society, even though there are several interventions as well as rules and regulations implemented by the government to improve the food security issue. However, there are still issues regarding food insecurities that need to be more transparent as well as invisible so that both of the government and society are well aware of the issue. However, food crisis can be taken as a wake-up call to turn the issue into an opportunity by developing countries in global agriculture, production, and trade. Thank you.